Welcome, everyone. So we have some special events this evening. Aaron Swade, who we got out the glue out to keep him here, has yahrzeit for his mother tonight, Sarah Bas Aaron. Her neshama should have an lichtige aliyah and be a militzi yashar for her family. And we also, David Helfgat has yahrzeit for his father, Baruch Alter Chaim ben Reb Zev. His neshama should have a lichtige aliyah and be a melitz yashar for his family, for all of us and all of Klal Yisrael. And Avram Rezepkowitz is asking us to please learn for his wife, Tova Devora Bas Rivka. She should have a refuah shalema b'sei shecher Yisrael. We are dedicated by Shalom Fogel in Nishmas Yaakov Zev ben Yoda Ayi, Rivka Bas Yaakov Yosef, Tzib Yamirim Bas Gad, Yosef ben Tzim ben Yaakov Zev, Refuah Shalema for Moshe Arya ben Miriam, for a great shidduch for Chaya Tzibya Bas Shoshana Gittel, a great shidduch for Batya Bas Sarah, by Baruch Ian, Lil Nishmas Yaakov Chaim ben Abba, Esther Bas Yona, Avram ben Shmuel HaKayin, Refuah Shalema for Liba Bas Anya, and the refuah shalema for Yosef Shmuel ben Miriam, and for a healthy mommy, healthy baby for Ariel Bas Elza Rivka. We are holding at the very top of Daf Tzadik Tes Amud Aleph. Remember, we said that Shlomo HaMelech added 10 tables, and the Gemara says Ishleima Lamandi Amar Safim V'Darim, that they went from north to south. So that's how it fit in its quadrant in the 20 Amos, the second 20 Amos of the Heichel, without any problem. But according to the Man Yama, that says that it went from east to west. So if it went from east to west, the problem is in the last 20, there is we need to fit it in the 20 amas from the wall to the midpoint of the Azara. So the problem is that Michtei Shulchan Kama Moshech Min HaKaisel. How much room does there have to be from the wall to the first 5 tables? Since we're going to learn that they put lechem aponim on each of the tables, so people had to be able to stand in between the wall and the shulchan. So you needed shtei amas umachza, 2.5 amas from the wall to the first shulchan, and then the Amadi day, the shulchan itself was an amma wide. Then you needed another 2.5 amas between it and the shulchan of Moshe, which was sandwiched in between the 2 5s. So then that's another. You needed another shtei amas umachza, and then the Amadi day, an amma for the shulchan of Moshe. So that's already 6 amas, 2.5. 2.5. An amma, 2.5, and then an amma, that's already 7. Then you needed another 2.5 amas, so shtei amas amachza to the next row of 5 shulchanas, the beini, and then excuse me, let me start that again.
Alexa, what day of the Omer is it tonight?
It is. We didn't count yet. We're going to count later.
Tonight is Monday.
Now, again, Michtei, 2 lines from the top. Shulchan Kama Moshech Ben HaKaisel, the first set of 5, if they went from east to west, how far does it have to be from the wall? Shtei amas umachza, 2.5 amas. And then the Amadi day, that's 3.5 amas. Then Ushtei amas umachza, and then another 2.5 amas till the shulchan of Moshe, so that's 2.5 plus 3.5, so that's 6. The beini. Then the amma of the shulchan of Moshe, that's 7. then Ushtei Amas Machza the Beni Beni, and then another 2.5 Amas to the next row of 5. So that's 9.5. V'amadi day, and an amma of that shulchan, then that's 10.5. Then ishtakach the achol shulchan, it comes out that the shulchan will eat palga the amsa b'darim, half an amma in the darim, and it's not supposed to go into the darim. So the Gemara says, yeah, but you're assuming that they put the shulchan of Moshe in between the two shulchanas. They didn't. Mi sabit shulchan the Moshe ba'adayu have Yosef. Do you think that the shulchan of Moshe sat sandwiched in between them? Loi, the middle it was raised above them. Umanechle, and they put it above, like you have in the picture in Rashi. Except this picture in Rashi is questionable because it has the shulchan on the top, the shulchan of Moshe going tzafin to Darim, which according to this opinion, the shulchan on top also went mizrach to Ma'ariv. So the picture is more likely to be like is in the art scroll. If you look in the art scroll, there's a picture where it has the shulchan on top also going east to west. And then you could bring the two tables closer to each other. You place it there, and and the other tables taka went in a little bit further down into the inner 20 amas, the outer 20 amas, which is okay, and the 10 shulchanas sat in front of the shulchan shel Moshe, ketalmud hayoshev lifnei rabbi, like a disciple that sits in front of his rabbi. Now, actually, Tan Rabbanan, Asar Shulchanas Asar Shlomo Melch made 10 Shulchanas, V'lo yoyim mesadrin ela al shel Moshe. Here comes the question, where did they put the lechem hapanim? Did they put it on all 11 tables, or only on the Shulchan of Moshe? So the first opinion is they only put the lechem hapanim on the Shulchan of Moshe. Shenema v'esa Shulchan asher olav lechem hapanim zav. The Shulchan that was upon it, the lechem hapanim of gold. So only one Shulchan in the singular. Asa menorah asa shleima, 10 lamps did Shlomo HaMelech make. V'lo hayu madlikin ela b'shel Moshe. They only lit the menorah of Moshe. Shenema menorah hazav v'neiroseha levaer ba'erev. Again, in the Lashon Yachid, to kindle it in the evening. Rabbi Elazar ben Shammua disagrees. Rabbi Elazar ben Shammua aimer al kulam hayu mesadrin. They put the bread on all 11 tables. Shenemer es hashulchanos, the tables va'aleihem, and upon them lechem hapanim. Uber kulan hayu madlikin, and all the menorahs they lit. Shenemer es ha-menorahs, the lamps v'neiroseim, and their the candelabras and their lamps. Levaram, to ignite them, kamishmat lefnei advir, and they sat before the Kodesh Kadashim, Zav Sagar, the most finest of gold. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer, now we'll see how Rabbi Yehuda learns the psukim. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer lo yoyim mesadrin ela al shel Moshe. What do we do? Elamani Mekayim, what do we do with the pasuk Veshal Shulchanos Aleim Lechem Hapanim? What are you going to do with the fact that it says tables in the plural? Oh, that's because there were 3 tables that were used for the Lechem Hapanim. Ela Shloisha Shulchanos Shayu B'Mikdash. There were 3 tables in the Mikdash. Shnayim Shayu B'Ulam. 2 were in the antechamber. Mibifnim, within the antechamber, al Pesach Habayis, by the doorway of the temple. Echad shel kesef, one of silver. We'll see that there's an opinion that it was of marble. Echad shel kesef, one of silver, ve'echad shel zav, and one of gold. Al shel kesef, when they did the changing of the lechem hapanim, Al shel kesef noisin lechem aponim miknisasai. They put the new set of lechem aponim when they brought it in before they switched it for the old set. V'al shel zav b'tziasai. And on the one other table of gold, they put the old lechem aponim as they exited with it on the table of gold. Why? Because once it was on the main table of Moshe, which was gold, you can't put it on silver, shemalin b'kodesh, because you only ascend in kedusha, v'loy meridin, you never descend. Echad shel zav b'fnim, and then there was the third table, that was the main table of gold in the inside, which was the shulchan shel Moshe, she'olav lechem aponim tamid. So really, Rabbi Yehuda explains that you only put the lechem aponim on the table of Moshe. It says shulchanais because sometimes it was on the table to the right of the ulam and sometimes it was on the table to the left of the ulam. How do we know that once we're malim b'kodesh we're not moridin? We never go down in kedusha. Amar Rebbe, Amar Kra, the pasuk says, "Vayakam Moshe es hamishkan." Moshe set up the mishkan. V'yitein es adonav. He put on the floor the sockets. Vayasem es krashav, and in the sockets he put the beams. Vayitein es brichav, and the bars that held the beams together. Vayakam es amudav, and he put the poles that would hold the vilon in front of the Beis Hamikdash, and the paroiches that separated the Kodesh and the Kodesh Kodashim. Now, the way we learn from here that we're Eimaridin is that since Moshe Rabbeinu started, he did the whole thing. Because Malin b'Kodesh v'Eimaridin, there are other pshatim, but that's one pshat. Uminol the Malin, how do we know that we ascend in Kedusha? Amar Reb Acha bar Yaakov the Amakra, Esmachtoi Sachatoim Eila b'Nafshaisam, by the followers of Kairach, it says, and the shovels that they used in their sins, va'asu oisam, and they made from them rikuei pakim, they made for them, they beat it out into sheets of gold, tzipui l'mizbeach, a covering for the mizbeach, yikrivim l'fnei Hashem, since they used it to offer before Hashem, vayikdoshu, they became sanctified, vayu la'oisul b'nei Yisrael, and it will be a remembrance for the b'nei Yisrael. So how do we see that with Malim? Because initially they were used to offer on the Mizbeach, and then they became part of the Mizbeach. But Tchila Tashmisha Mizbeach, they were only accessories of the Mizbeach. But Akshav Gufay Shal Mizbeach, now they became part of the Mizbeach. We'll also see how we're Malim B'Kodesh. Asher Shibarta, the luchas which were broken, the Samtam Ba'arim, and they were placed in the Aron. Tani Rav Yosef Malamit Shalukais v'Shivrei Luchais Menachim Ba'aron. The luchais and the fragments of the luchas went to ascending kedusha and were put into the Kodesh Kodashim in the Aron. Now, what do we learn out that the fragments were put in the Aron? Mikan l'Talmud Chacham sheshachach Talmudei machbas ansai. Talmud Chacham who forgot his learning because of a sickness. Somebody has dementia, senility, Alzheimer's, Rachmanu litzlan loyalenu, she'ein noigin by minig b'zayin. We don't treat him in a demeaning manner. We have to be very careful with this because people, they're acting strange and they start putting on tefillin on Shabbos and they start saying Kaddish and they start doing all kinds of things. We have to make sure not to treat them in a demeaning way. Amrei Shlakish. Sometimes the negation of Torah is its foundation. We know that one of the reasons that what Moshe Rabbeinu destroyed the Luchas is because it had on it the damning statement that you shouldn't worship idolatry. So he destroyed it that Klal Yisrael shouldn't be destroyed. The Chsiv Asher Shibarta, which you broke, which actually it looks like a destructive act, to be Tula Shel Torah. But Amalei HaKadosh Baruch Hu Moshe, Hashem said to Moshe, Yiyasher Keichacha Sheshibarta, you should be strengthened that you broke it. You did the right thing. I should welcome in such wonderful people as we welcome in Saba and Menachem Umansky and Mo Kushner and Mel Zachner and Yaakov Warman and Marshall Castle and Reuven Pollack, Shalom Fogel, Berish Gesseman, Dr. Black, Baruch Ian, Aaron Swade, Yitzi Fuchs, Shelley Zeitlin, Dr. Guy, Michal, Nachman Chapler, and the one and only Eddie Chazan, Hardy Appetite, Moshe Lehman, Stephen Holtzman, Naftali Jablin, Shimon Klein, Avram Rezepkowitz, Ilya Shutman, Yisrael Fisher, Elia Yaffe, Yitzi Muller, Gabriel Epstein, Yeshua Shmuel Eisenberg, Abe Arbach, Richard Rosenzweig, David Helfgott. And here in the shul, we have the pleasure of having Gedalia Engel, who's been very good at attendance lately, Iran and Danny Vogel and Ruvain Shannet. We really have to work on strengthening our oilam down here. Okay.
This Gemara, that's the last Rashi those are Rashi's last words in Kodesh.
Right, that's on the pasuk V'le'enei Kol Yisrael, which is a fantastic thing. That of all the different accomplishments that Moshe Rabbeinu did, he took us out of Egypt. He crossed the Yam. He prayed for us that we shouldn't be destroyed with the Chayk Egel. He brought down the Torah three times. He was up not eating and drinking for 120 days. And what's he credited? That he broke the luchas. Because when you take your life's work, he spent all that time up bringing down the Torah, and you were able to break it. That was the zenith of greatness of Moshe Rabbeinu. It's like the Akedah by Avram Avinu. That he was willing, here he campaigned his whole life chesed and against human sacrifice. He's ready to kill his own son and be labeled the biggest hypocrite in the history of mankind. And he was willing to do it for Hashem. Reuven, I would take a little water if there is. Please. Says the Gemara, V'amar Eish Lakish, Talmud Chacham Shesarach, a Talmud Chacham that sins, Ein Mevazen Oisei B'Fahesi. We don't shame him in public. Shenema V'chashalta Hayayim, you stumbled today, V'chashal Gam Novi, and the Navi also strayed Imcha, with you, Laila. Now, Laila means Kaseyu Kalayla, cover it like the night. Now, once we're talking about a Talmud Chacham Sheshachach es Talmudai, that's only La'unsai. But V'amar Eish Lakish Kol HaMeshakeach Davar Echad Mitalmudai, whoever forgets that which he learns because he's not careful to remember it, which is a very scary thing. Now, this doesn't mean that person says, okay, I can't learn Daf Yomi, there's no way I could remember everything. Obviously, Rameir Shapiro said that we should learn Daf Yomi. And the Gemara will say that if it's takva lovely mudai, if you just learn so much, you can't remember it all, it's okay. But it means that we shouldn't get out of the habit of learning. If somebody forgets something of his learning, over belav, he's over alav. Shenemar, as it says, thank you very much, Ruvain. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol niyeh b'dvaro. V'amar Eish Lakish, Kol HaMeshakeach davar echad b'Talmudai, whoever forgets something of his learning, over belav. Shenemar hishama l'cho shmar nafshecha ma'oid pen tishkach es hadvarim. Be careful and be very careful that lest you forget something. And we know that whenever it says hishama and pen, it's only a lav. Could Rabbi Avin Amar Rabbi Ilah, Damar Rabbi Avin Amar Rabbi Ilah, Kol makom shenemar hishama pen va'al. So now the Gemara says, well, here, since it says Hishamar and pen, it's two lavin. Ravina Amar, Hishamar pen shnei lavin ninu. Rav Nachman says it says Hishamar twice, so therefore it's 3 lavim. Rav Nachman Yitzchak Amar b'shloish lavim shenema Hishamar l'cha, that's 1. Ushmor nafshecha ma'oy, that's 2. Pen tishkach es hadvarim, that's 3. Yochel afilu machmas ansei. You might think it's even if he did it against his will, involuntarily. Talmud Laimar pen yisuru milvavcha. Only if you do it actively, removing it from your heart. In other words, somebody that stopped learning. I might think even if he learns a lot, how is he supposed to remember it? Talmud Laimar rak. That's a miyat. This is how Torah protects us. Torah nitna ba'arbaim. Torah was given in 40 days. Right? One of the reasons why we eat milchiks on Shavuos is because chalav is gematria 40. And it was given in 40 days. Uneshama noitze ba'arbaim. And it says, Arbaim yoim liyitzir savlat. Kala mishamer Torah, so whoever preserves his Torah, nishmasei mishtameres, his neshama will be preserved. Because she'ena mishameres Torah, he stops learning. Ein nishmasei mishtameres. Then chas v'shalom, his neshama won't be preserved. The master gave a swallow, which is an expensive bird, to his servant. Amar, you think that if you're going to lose it, I'm going to take from you just an isser? No. I'm going to take your life. I gave you a gift, and I want you to take care of the Torah. Now, the next Mishnah reviews to us the procedure of how we do the change of the lechem aponim from the old bread, taking off the old bread and putting on the new bread. There were 2 tables in the antechamber. Al Pesach Habayis. So here you see, unlike the Girs in the Gemara, in the Braisa it said one of silver. Here it says Echad Shel Shayish, one of marble, the Echad Shel Zav, and one of gold. Al Shel Shayish, on the marble one, Noisnim Lechem Aponim B'Knisa, so they put the new bread when they brought it in. Al Shel Zav, and on the gold one they put the old bread B'Yitziyasai upon the exit. Shemalin B'Kodesh, because once it's removed from the table of Moshe, we take it from marble to gold, but V'loi Marina, we don't go from gold down to anything else. V'Echad Shel Zav B'Fnim, and the table of gold on the inside, She'olav Lechem Aponim Tamid, that we always have the Lechem Aponim on from week to week. 4 Kohanim enter, Ushnayim b'yodim shel shnei sedarim. 2 of them have each 6 loaves of bread, and Ushnayim b'yodim shnei bazichen, and 2 have the 2 spoonfuls of frankincense. V'abo makdimu lefneim, and 4 empty-handed Kohanim go in ahead of them. Shnayim litol shnei sedarim, 2 to take off the 2 stacks, Ushnayim litol shnei bazichen, and 2 to take off the 2 censerfuls of frankincense. Hamachnisin ein de mitzafim l'pneim l'darim, those that brought in the new bread stood at the north, facing the south. V'amoitzian, and those that are taking it off, ein de midarim l'pneim b'tzafim, stood on the south, facing the north. Elu Moishchin, the Kohanim pulled the old bread, the Elu Manichin, and the new ones pushed in the new bread. The Tifcha Shel Zeh Keneged Tifcha Shel Zeh, and the tefach of one was next to the tefach of the other, so that there was never a time that the shulchan was out bread. Shenemar lefanai tamid. It was before me at all time. What?
What does it mean the tefach of one was by the tefach? What does that mean, the tefach of one?
What it means is that as you pushed in a tefach, new, you moved away a tefach. So that tifcha shel zeh next to tifcha shel zeh. Now, Rabbi Yossi says no. Afelu Noitlin, they could take it off, and then Ve'elam Anichim, and then put it on. And not only that, we'll see that even if they took it off in the morning and they put it in on the night, it's okay. Afi Oisa Tamid, that's still considered Tamid. Yatsu, they took out the old bread, and when they're waiting for the Kahanim to smoke up the 2 censerfuls of Ketairis, on the Sanam al Shulchan Azav, they put it on the table of gold, Shoya Ba'ulan, Hiktiro Abazichin, they smoked up the spoonfuls on the Mizbeach Ha'olah, on the outer Mizbeach, V'achalos Mischalkas L'kanim, and then the loaves were divided up to the Kanim. Remember, it could only be eaten by Zichrei Kuna, because it's Kachay Kachin. Now, what happens if Shabbos was Yom Kippur? So then they can't eat the Chalas. Chol Yom Kippurim Liyos B'Shabbos, then Achalas Mischalkas L'Erev. It was divided in the evening because they could eat it until the next morning, like regular menachos could be eaten for a day and a night. Now, here's an interesting shaila. Nowadays, with our fixed calendar, it doesn't happen. But in the olden days, Yom Kippur could fall out on Erev Shabbos. Now, they offered a so'ir, not the so'ir l'Hashem, because that was burnt. But they offered a so'ir l'chatas. Now, that so'ir had to be eaten. But if Yom Kippur fell out on Erev Shabbos, so it couldn't be eaten on Yom Kippur because it's Yom Kippur. So it could only be eaten the next night. But the next night was Shabbos, so they couldn't cook it. So how did they eat it? So the Mishnah says, Chol Yos B'Erev Shabbos, Sor Shel Yom HaKippurim Nechol Erev. It was eaten on Friday night. How? V'Bavlian Oichlin Oisei Kahanim from Bavel ate it kishuchai, when it was raw. They ate like, people eat raw fish, sushi. They ate sushi meat. Mipnei Shadaitan Yafa. They weren't so fastidious, and they were able to eat it raw. What?
What about the blood?
Oh, there's a big shaila. Some say they salted it for the blood. Others say they didn't salt it.
Salting is a form of cooking also.
No, so that's only if it's salted for a long time. Very good point you raised. There's a big machlokes about the salting. Tanya, Rabbi Yossi Aimer afilu silik es hayashana shachris. Even if they removed the old lechem apanim in the morning, the siddur es hachadasha aravis, and they put the new one on the evening, ein bekach klum. Elamani mekayim lefanai tamid, shelo yolin shulchan b'loy lechem. That the shulchan shouldn't go an entire day without bread. Amar Reb Ami midvar shel Rabbi Yossi nilmud afilu leishana adam ela perek echad shachris or perek echad arvis. Even if you learn only one chapter in the morning and one chapter in the evening, you'll fulfill kiyah mitzvahs lo yomesh hasefer haTorah hazeh mipicha v'agisa b'yomam v'loyla. You still fulfill it. It doesn't have to be the whole day and the whole night. Says
that's not a mitzvah.
Huh?
That's not a mitzvah.
It's a machlokes in the Gemara. We'll see.
It's in your shul.
I know. So what?
We have mitzvahs from the.
So let's say it's Divrei Kabbalah. So it's Divrei Kabbalah.
That means it's.
It's Divrei Kabbalah. We have mitzvahs from Divrei Kabbalah too. Or it could be a Gili Milsabaum. So the Gemara says not only that, it doesn't have to be a Perek Echad. It could be Amar Rabbi Yechim Shimon Yochai Afilu Kar Adam El Kriyash Mashachris V'Arvis. If you just said Kriya Shema in the morning and the afternoon, Kiyam Lo Yamash, you mekayim not to turn away. The dove is there also Lo Aimrei B'fnei Amoritz. But you shouldn't say this in front of an Amoritz, because then he'll say, you see, no problem. That's all I'll do. I'll say Kriya Shema in the morning and the evening, and that's it. Rava says, Adarabba, mitzvah lo imru b'fnei amaretz. It's a mitzvah to tell an amaretz, because he said, if I get reward, even for saying just Kriya Shema in the morning and Kriya Shema in the afternoon, imagine how much there would be reward if I learned. Shal ben Dama ben Achoyse shel Rabbi Yishmael. Ben Dama, the nephew of Rabbi Yishmael, asked Rabbi Yishmael, Ki gain ani shelamaditi kol haTorah kula. I finished the whole Torah. Ma'u lilmod chachmas Yavanis. Could I learn Greek wisdom? Could I learn? There was a system of like Morse code that they were able to communicate. Can I learn the Greek wisdom? So he said, no problem. Meditate in it day and night. Go and find a time that's not day and not night. You could learn it. Say a b'daik shah she'ena loy min hayom v'loy min halayla, then v'yom b'chachmas Yavanis, and then you could learn chachmas Yavanis.
So that means, in effect, no time.
Exactly.
Right.
Now the Gemara says different than Gedaliah's kasha, but another kasha, and that is, wait a second. This was not a command at all. It was a bracha to Yeshua. O pliga de Reb Shmuel ben Achmeini. And this is in opposition to Reb Shmuel ben Achmeini. Amar Reb Shmuel ben Achmeini, Amar Reb Yonasan. Ze'ena loy chayvel v'loy mitzvah. This is not an obligation, not even a mitzvah. Ela bracha. Ra Kadosh Baruch Hu es Yeshua. Hashem saw Yeshua. Shedibrei Torah chavivim alav b'yaser. That the words of Torah were precious to him. Shenema Mishar Sam Yeshua Mishar Soy Yeshua ben Nun Lo Yamish Mitaycha Ayel Amalak Kadosh Baruch Hu Yeshua Kol Kach Avivin Alecha Divrei Torah. The words of Torah are so precious to you. I give you a bracha that Lo Yamish Sefer HaTorah Azem Epicha, that the Torah shouldn't budge from your mouth. And we're going to stop over here now, and we'll continue this fascinating Gemara tomorrow. Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit, la halacha, because it's so important. What do I want to say? We still do not have one sponsor for this week's Chumash Shir. We are looking for a sponsor for this week's Chumash Shir. 718-916-3100. rmmwsi@aol.com. Anybody that's interested, please let me know. Please text me. Please call me. Please email me. It's $360 to sponsor all over the world. $540 a diamond sponsor. And now we're going to count Sfira.